You're not going to believe what I made using Dollar Tree picture frames. Like, these are the same basic frames everyone walks past, and I turned them into high-end home decor pieces that look like they came from a designer store. I'm talking wall decor, functional pieces, statement accents, and the craziest part is, once you see how these come together, you're never going to look at Dollar Tree picture frames the same again. My name is Nora G, and welcome to my nook. Listen, some of these turned out so good, I already know people are about to start recreating them immediately. So I made 5 brand new Dollar Tree DIYs using only picture frames, and each one just kept getting better. So if you love turning simple, affordable items into pieces that actually look expensive, you're going to be obsessed with this. You can also check out my blog, norajsnook.com, for the complete supply list and tutorial. Now let's get into it. Alright, so for our first DIY, I grabbed 4 of these black picture frames from Dollar Tree. And the first thing I did was take everything apart to take out the inserts. Alright, so this particular project is pretty simple and straight to the point, with just a little bit of techniques here and there which will make it look very different and elevated. Alright, so I will be taking everything apart and we'll be reusing everything except the glasses. We don't need the glass for this one, alright? But don't throw them away because we will definitely be using that in another future DIY. I also removed the backing support, as you can see, because we will be building something completely different here. So set this aside and we will come back to that. Alright, I'm going to make this in steps to make it pretty easy to follow. So now we have our frames prepped. Our first step will be creating the wood panel look. So I grabbed a few packs of bamboo skewers from Dollar Tree. And then I laid them side by side on top of the frame insert. You want them perfectly aligned, no overlapping, okay? Super clean. So just make sure to spread it out very well. I used one of the frames as guide underneath to keep everything straight and aligned, but you can also use a ruler or anything with a straight edge. This kind of helps me gauge and know exactly where my picture frame insert ends, okay? Once everything was lined up nicely, I took off the excess bamboos on the side, just making sure everything fits perfectly on the picture frame insets. And then I added some masking tape across the skewers to hold everything together. This step is key because it makes it easy to move your design without it falling apart, okay? Everything stays in place. Then I flipped it over and then added some hot glue. But before doing that, I just made sure to add any extra skewers on the side to actually fit the frame completely. And now I can work without a frame on there. So I went ahead and added hot glue over the back side and then placed the frame backing right on top to secure everything. To make sure it was really locked in, I went in with some Mod Podge as well around the edges. Okay, so since the paper is pretty thin, this will soak in, but do not worry about that. Another alternative would be for you to use cardboard for this, like replace the frame inserts with cardboard, but that would just make it a lot more thicker when you have to put that back in. Alright, so set that aside to dry, and once dry, just trim off the excess skewers using pliers, like you can see me do here. So don't worry about the edges being perfect, okay? As that won't matter once we have all of them set up back into the frames. Now we have one done, and now on to the next. So for step 2, which is our next step, this will be creating variation. So the first one was done vertically, and now we're going to do the second one horizontally. So this is because I didn't want all the panels to look exactly the same, but also not too different from each other. And so for the second set, I did the exact same thing, same process as well, but this time I laid the skewers horizontally instead of vertically, like we did in the first one. Just take your time, you guys. All right, and this goes by pretty quickly. And this right here is what gives that designer custom built look. So once I had that all done, because the skewers are long enough, these will actually give me two bamboo skewer inserts for 2 frames. Again, tip it down, glue it, secure it, and then you trim it, just like we did with the very first one. Alright, so I then put back into the picture frames our newly created bamboo inserts. You can use hot glue here if you want to completely secure it in place, but I chose to just stick with the anchors that actually come with the frames on the back side, okay? And just push them down securely and tightly. That looks beautiful already as it is. But now, on to step 3, which is natural versus stained finish. Okay, so at this point, you could honestly leave it like this and it already looks good. But my creative spirit said we're taking this up a level. So I went in with a burnt umber chalk paint and lightly stained all the panels. You can also use wood stain or even brown acrylic paint from Dollar Tree for this part, okay? And look at the difference. It instantly gives that rich, warm, high-end wood finish. Okay, tell me in the comments, do you prefer the natural bamboo or the stained look? I'm curious. And now for step 4. Here's where it all comes together, guys. I took all 4 frames and started gluing them together to form a box shape. I used both E6000 and hot glue, so it is strong and also holds instantly, okay? And for extra support, as you can see, I added tumbling block towers or tumbling tower blocks on the inside corners. Don't skip this, guys. It makes your structure solid. Alright, so once I had all 4 frames glued together, I added extra glue in the insides for extra strength. And although our box may already look strong, you do not want to miss this step, so make sure to do this. Now step 5, I cut a square from a cardboard box and glued it to the bottom of our box. This is going to act as the base of our planter, alright? Also, in place of cardboard, you could also use some plywood for this, but you will see what I add to this eventually. For the legs, I used tumbling tower blocks, stained them to match and glued 1 to each corner, as you can see using hot glue. And this small detail right here is what takes it from DIY to high-end decor piece. And just like that, our piece is coming through, okay? And I also used one of the clear glass pieces from the frame and glued it also to the top of that cardboard box or cardboard cutout. So now we have a clean sealed bottom. Dollar Tree picture frames turned into a modern high-end planter that looks like it came from a high-end designer store. What do you think? You can add some faux greenery arrangement inside for styling like I did here. And to use natural plants in this, I recommend leaving the base hollow or perforated, no cardboard, alright? This would also look beautiful in an entryway, on a coffee table, as a centerpiece, on an open shelving, or even in an office space or bedroom. It is giving modern, it is giving warm, it is giving expensive, right, in my opinion. And we are only just getting started, guys, with this video. Just wait till you see what I did with the next set of picture frames. Well, before we move on to the next DIY, do not forget to check out my blog, noragysnook.com, which I just launched, for more DIYs. Now for this next project, I picked up one of these unfinished wood picture frames from Dollar Tree. And if you've seen these in store and walked past them, this is your sign to go back and grab a few, okay? Because the potential, insane. So I also grabbed a pack of tumbling tower blocks, and before gluing anything down, I laid everything out first. Don't skip this step, okay? Because this is what separates a clean, high-end look from a messy DIY. So I created 4 sets of 3 blocks and 4 sets of 2 blocks. I dry tested different layouts until I got something I liked. Once I was happy with the layout, I used Gorilla Glue to secure each set together and set them aside to dry. Now for the color, I went in with black chalk paint and will be painting the frames and all the wood block pieces. But before I painted the frame, I covered the inside with paper and masking tape, as you can see me do, so I could keep that natural wood tone clean, and this is very important. You do not want to stain that. The contrast right there, that is what will give us our high-end designer feel. Now this next part is what takes it from nice to wow. I grabbed this glass bottle from Dollar Tree with the gold rim, very cute, and I will only be painting the bottom half black. To do this, I used masking tape to get a clean line, and then I will use my Rust-Oleum or Trimclad black spray paint, whichever one you have is perfectly fine, and then set it aside to dry. Now everything is dry, and this is where it all comes together. We have to start building, but first we'll take off our paper. Before gluing anything down, I laid everything out again. Very important, just to make sure the spacing and flow looked right. I started with one of the longer pieces on the left and then alternated between short and long sections, using another block as a spacer to keep everything even. What I was going for was that modern abstract, almost piano key style design, with variation in length to keep it visually interesting. And once I was happy with the layout, I used hot glue to secure each piece down. Take your time here, this is what makes it look intentional and expensive. Next, I removed the masking tape from the bottle, and once you peel that tape off, that crisp line, oh lord, so satisfying, I love it. Then I used both hot glue and Gorilla Glue to attach it to the bottom right corner of the frame. And already you can see it all coming together. For the finishing touch, I took this burlap ribbon tape from Dollar Tree, cut it into thinner strips, and wrapped it right along the line where the paint meets the glass. And this right here, this is the detail that ties everything together, as the burlap color matches the background color of the frame. Don't you think? It softens the look, adds texture, and makes it feel way more high-end. Now to style it, I added some faux greenery and a bit of lavender to give it that fresh, elevated look. And tell me, why does this look like something you'd see in a styled home shoot, guys? I love it. This would look beautiful in an entryway, on a gallery wall, in a bathroom like I styled mine, on an open shelving, or even in a small apartment space where you want decor that is functional and pretty. It is wall decor, but it is also a vase, which makes it both decorative and practical. So for this next project, I picked up this display frame from the dollar store, and what I loved about it immediately is that it opens and closes with a magnetic closure, which means this isn't just decor, it is actually functional. Don't you just love that? 'Cause I do. Now the inside needed a little upgrade, okay? So I grabbed this black felt fabric and cut it to fit perfectly inside the frame. Dollar Tree always has these felt fabrics in different colors. I chose black, but you can absolutely use any color of your choosing. But I do highly recommend black if you have the same frame as this, because that just looks pretty, high end. Then I used the original insert as a guide to cut out a piece of cardboard, which I will then be using the felt right on top. So using hot glue, I glued the felt fabric onto the cardboard cutout. And instantly, it started to give off that luxury display case feel. There's just something about felt fabric I love very much. That is just very soothing to me, okay? Anyways, before we do carry on, guys, pause. Word of the day today is artisanal. Because the pieces in today's video feel handcrafted, intentional, and curated. Every one of them, like something made with purpose and not just mass-produced. And that is exactly the vibe we're creating in this video. So please do comment artisanal down below and show you girls some love. Next, I took apart the front panel, and instead of glass, this actually had a thick clear plastic with a protective film, so I peeled that off. I wanted to warm up the tone of the frame a bit, okay? So I went in with burnt umber and lightly stained the wood. This is not exactly wood per se, it's somewhat on the plastic side if you ask me, but it works just fine. And this just gives it that richer, more expensive look, and it also matches my home decor style. Once everything was dry, I placed the felt back inside the frame, and now it is time to make this functional. I found these metallic push pins from Dollar Tree that looks like mini knobs, and they are perfect for this. So I picked out 4 of the gold ones and cut off the sharp ends using pliers, and then I went ahead to glue them inside using Gorilla Glue. And just like that, we now have a custom jewelry holder, guys. But you don't have to do this step, okay? Because the frame already comes with elastic straps that you can absolutely use for other items. However, I'm using it this way for jewelry. And look at that. This is giving jewelry display, luxury storage, boutique organization, all from Dollar Tree. I added a few of my favorite necklaces and hung it right on the wall, and instantly it becomes part of the decor. Not clutter, not storage, but an actual statement piece. This will look beautiful in a bedroom, inside a closet or dressing area, in a bathroom, near a vanity, or even as a gift idea. And I love that you can also turn it sideways depending on your space. For this next project, I grabbed this shadow box frame from the dollar store, and honestly, it already looked really good on its own, as you can see. But you already know what we do on this channel, guys. We're about to take it to a whole different level, okay? My way. So it's up to you. You can keep it as is, or you could follow suit. I took it apart, which was super easy, by the way, and I was actually surprised at how sturdy it felt compared to other other picture frames. Now for me, the magic is in this piece is the contrast. So I took the original insert and used the pen to trace out that small floral detail in the center. And then I went in with black chalk paint to create a clean, bold background. So although I am using black here, you could use any color of your choosing, but I'd like to stick with black to have a good contrast against the white, as you would see. This step is optional though, but trust me, this is what gives it that modern high-end wall art look. Let that dry completely before moving on. Next, I grabbed these Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree, and I'm using 2 tones here, a lighter wood tone and a darker, richer tone. I started laying out a woven pattern, almost like a basket weave design, and this is where you want to take your time, because the layout is everything. It is actually the focal point of this particular project. At first, I had more of the darker pieces, but once I stepped back and looked at it, I realized it needed more of the lighter tones to balance everything out. And this is the difference between a good DIY and a designer looking one. Always step back and adjust. Once I was happy with the layout, I started gluing each piece down one by one using hot glue, and you want to make sure everything is aligned nicely because clean lines equal expensive look. Now here is where things get interesting, because once the blocks are in, the glass doesn't fit back inside the frame anymore. But instead of removing it, I glued the glass to the outside of the frame using A6000 glue at the corners. And listen, this little detail right here, this is what makes it look like a real shadow box from a designer store. Look at that. It feels finished, it feels intentional, and it feels high-end. This is giving modern wall art, sculptural decor, and designer texture piece all in one, and all from the Dollar Tree. This would look absolutely beautiful on a gallery wall, styled on a console table like this, in a living room for that modern neutral aesthetic, in an office or office workspace, or even in a hallway for a clean elevated look. And because of the tones, it works perfectly with neutral, earthy, and modern decor styles. You can totally switch this up by painting all the blocks one color for a monochrome look, using gold accents for a glam version, or even creating a larger version with multiple frames. Now for our final project, I grabbed 4 of these gold picture frames from Dollar Tree. And the first thing I did was remove all the inserts, like we did with the previous ones, okay? Dollar Tree always carries gold frames in different sizes and styles. But we're about to turn these into something completely unexpected. Next, I picked up this non-slip rock underlay from Dollar Tree, and using the original inserts as a guide, I cut out 4 rectangles, 1 for each frame. Then I went in with black chalk paint and used a sponge to apply it. Let those dry completely. You could also spray paint this, but I just felt like it would be faster to dry if you use chalk paint or acrylic paint for this. Once everything is dry, we're going to reassemble the frame in a very specific order, okay? Glass goes in first, and then the black spray painted rock underlay, then the original paper insert flipped to the white side, and finally the backing. Also, do not forget to remove the stand from the back before closing it. And what this does is it creates a clean, layered, modern panel look inside the frame. Now here's where the magic really happens. I used Gorilla Glue and hot glue to attach the frames together on the sides. I'm following a zigzag folding pattern, as you can see. And instantly, you start to see this transform into something architectural, something sculptural, and something somewhat expensive. Alternatively, you could also use some of your favorite picture memories in the inserts instead of the fun underlay I used. Now, instead of stopping there, I wanted to make this functional too. So I grabbed 3 glass bottles that I had saved from my kombucha runs. Yes, we're recycling and decorating, guys. And I glued them to the back of the frames. And then I secured everything with masking tape and let it dry overnight. And look at that. This is giving modern vase arrangement or modern vase arrangement. Luxury centerpiece, designer statement piece, all from Dollar Tree. Alright, I added some faux greenery and instantly this comes to life. This is not just decor anymore. It is a full styling moment, guys. And it would absolutely look stunning on an entryway console, as a dining table centerpiece, on a coffee table, a sideboard, or even in an office space, with your lost one pictures in the frames as well. So you can totally make this yours, okay? I am only guiding you here. And because of the gold and black tones, it fits perfectly with modern, glam, and neutral decor styles. You can also customize this by switching the black to white for a softer look, or use pictures in the frames like I had mentioned. Using silver frames for a cooler tone, or adding LED lights behind it for an even more dramatic effect. And this right here is exactly why I love Dollar Tree DIYs. Because with a little creativity, you can take something simple and turn it into something that looks completely high-end. Well guys, that brings us to the very end of this video. Tell me, which DIY was your favorite? Let me know in the comments section. I'm reading all of them. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss my next video. Until my next upload, have a great day.